In continuation with the previous video, we are going to see about the classification of sensors. The sensors are classified based on the condition in the and based on the operation principle in the sensor operation. First, we see about the energy contribution based in the divided into modulator and generator. The modulator is not an external source, because the output energy comes from an external called the energy contribution, and the generator is nothing, output energy is given by itself. And the second category is the based on the out signal which we can get into analog or analogic output signal, and the other one is a digital output signal. The analogic output signal means the output varies constantly with respect to the time, and the digital output signal, it measures the output does not vary continuously, and it will produces a binary outputs in the as a output. And based on the operation mode, it is classified into two types, that is diffusion mode and comparison mode. The diffusion mode is nothing but the measured magnitude causes a physical effect in some parts of the device. In comparison mode, the diffusion is zero, and because of an opposed effect to the one generated by a magnitude. Because the diffusion is zero means the measured magnitude and the physical effect will give a zero value. And the characteristics of the sensors, the parameters which are going to measured in the sensors are based on the example. It is electrocardiograph. We can measure that the heart rate and ECG signals. And the pulse oximeter device, it is oxygen saturation in blood. And blood pressure meter, we can identify the systemic arterial pressure, diastolic arterial pressure, and average arterial pressure. Glucometer. In glucometer, we can measure the glucose level in the blood. And the scale, we can measure the weight of the human being or any objects. And the passive infra or PIR, it gives the presence of the particular thing. And the infrared, it passes through and it will produce some parameters. And door, passive infrared door opening, it gives the presence and the passes through doors or windows opening or closing. These are all the sensor parameters. So from this we can categorize the main parameters. Main sensor parameters are 8. First one is the instantaneous field of view, IFOV, overall field of view, S by N ratio, that is signal to noise ratio, and the linearity, wavelength band of the signal, swath width, and dwell time and resolution. So from this, the sensors in IoT, which takes place a major role in IoT classifications. So a sensor is a device that takes physical input from its surrounding and turns into data that can be analyzed by humans or machines. So the majority of sensors are electronic, and although the others are simpler, such as a glass thermometer, and display its visual data. We know that the IoT, Internet of Things, provides many opportunities to improve how business operates. So IoT has enhanced the automation process by collecting massive amounts of data via sensors. So sensors are able to gather data and send it to the air directly or indirectly to the cloud or the edge. So these sensors are useful on standalone devices with processing and important communication capabilities. Depending on the type of input, the sensors can be broadly classified into two types. The first one is the analog sensors, and the second one is the digital sensors. First, we see about the analog sensors versus digital sensors. So the majority sensors we know that are electronic. So the data is transformed into electronic data. although others are simpler and such as a glass thermometer that displays visual data. So depending on the type of input, sensors are broadly classified into two categories. One is the analog sensor and another one is a digital sensor. So the analog sensors gives the output as in analog or continuous in nature, and the digital sensor gives the output as a binary output. Thank you.